Hello my friends, welcome back. In the previous video, what we created was, or what we did was able to log in from our front end of our React application. So if you haven't watched that video, you can go back and watch that video. So what we are going to focus on in this video is to make some logic inside our application. So let's see the pictorial part of what we are going to do. As it stands right now, there is our application we have right now, right? When you click on books, add books, users, and whatever, right? So in this video, we are going to tackle two parts of application. One is to be able to hide some tabs from unauthorized users, or you expose some tabs to the public. So if you look at the final project, for a login user, as you can see, we have a couple of tabs here. When I log out, as you can see, we have these tabs for unauthorized users, right? So before coming back to this, let's try to log in and see the first function we're going to tackle. As it stands right now inside our application, when I log in, so let me visit /login here. And when I log in with the wrong password, let me look at my states. I have clicked on that. Let me look at my Redux dev extension 2. I want to have this one in a large view, so I will click this icon here and I will put it here inside one tab, one desktop here. So as it stands right now, let me arrange them well. Okay. So when I refresh it again, let's look at our dev extension 2. We have no action being called. When I log in without email and password, I see action login fail, and I have this as invalid credentials. So for the user, we don't have any feedback that tells us that maybe the email is wrong or password is wrong. So if you look at the final one, when you log in with the wrong password like this, and you see the spinning, and then we have invalid login credentials like that. All right. So, and when I log in successfully, as you can see, I have this nice tab. But for our application, when we even log in with the right email and a password, 1 2 3 4 5, login. Let me look at my dev extension 2. As you can see, login success, and I have the user, right? But we don't have any feedback. So first, we are going to have that error and a spinning when is the process of loading. So here comes the question: how are we going to tackle that? It's all about states, and our states are all inside our Redux dev extension 2, our store. Let me see that. Inside our store right now, we have piece of state that we are keeping track of. When a book is created and a list of books, and when user is logging. So right now, a user has login, so I have this data here, right? So when we have login request, let's see what do I have. My state loading true. When it's success, now I have my user info like that. But when I log in with the wrong password, so let me log out. There's no way I can log out for my front end. So let me head over to my local storage, your console here. Let me make it a little bit bigger here for you to see. And let me go to application. And as you can see, don't bother about this data here. This application I'm building, right? So we see user off data. So click on that and delete the user who has logged in. So let me refresh again. Good. So I've logged out the user. So let me head over to my dev extension 2, my Redux store. As you can see, there is no action. Let me log in with the wrong password like this. As you can see, if you look at the login request true and then login fail, I have that. Inside my states, I have loading true and then invalid credentials. So we are going to make use of when a user has started making requests, which is the user login, right? And when it's false, we have the error coming back inside our state. Good. So let's do that. So inside our login component, we want to display an error and a spinner, right? So where can we get a state? We have all the state inside our store, like I said. So we are going to grab only this part, the user login part here. Alright, so let's do that one. So inside our component, how can we connect our component to our store and grab a pieces of state? Before the current version of Redux, what you used to do is to remap or we wrap our component with map prop to dispatch. But with the recent version of Redux, we have what is called use selector. And use selector works the same way as what map dispatch to prop, and you can grab the piece of state you want from your store. So let's grab this one from React Redux as use selector, like that. And this is a function we're going to grab. It connects our component to the store and grab the pieces of state we need. So let me come down here above my login submit handler here. Let me have a comment, say grab pieces of data from our store that we care about. Okay, so with the use selector, we can create an instance of use selector. Okay, it's equal to let me call this one state. Let me call it state, right? It's equal to, then I will call my use selector as a function, and this one takes a function as a callback, and I can return something from that, right? So here, the first parameter it takes holds all the states inside our store. So here, when you console.log states, it means that we are going to have all the state inside our store, like this one, book created, book list, and user login. Alright, so let's try to console log that. So with this one, let's head over to our our console here, and I believe you have it as an object like that. As you can see here, what do we have? We have book created, book list, and a user login. Alright, so this is what we have inside our state right now. Okay, now user login, user is now, info is now. So we don't care about this book created and this book list, we care about the user login. So we can return, so instead of this one, I can return here, let me say return state.user login. Remember? So let's see, user login here. So with this, when you console log the states, we will only have the user login state here. So let me refresh it. What do I have here as now? When you head over to our states, let me refresh it. It's now here because in our state we don't have it's undefined, as you see. We don't have any state yet being in that component. So now let's try to log in with the right password and let's have a look at our state. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Login success. Now how do I see it? At first it was loading and then user info. Alright, so we are going to grab this loading and the user info. We are going to structure from these states, right? So here I can quickly say that cons, I want the structure from the states and I want loading and I want user info for now, right? User info. So what do I need? In case there's some error, let me try to log in again with the wrong password and see what do I have. When I log in again, as you can see, it gives me loading true. It's not giving back the data. So let me head over to my action and user info. Okay, let me log out again. Now I'm able to handle the login part when everything's accessed. So let me remove my login user from here. We have a way of log out the user than coming back to the console and then delete the token or whatever. So with this, when I log in with a wrong password and email, let me see what is coming back inside my state. Inside the console, with this, I only see loading true. So it means that inside my action, I'm not retrieving, or what do you call it? I'm not populating the data into my state. So let's head over to our action, because I want to have that invalid details here inside my state. So let's head over to our action here, and actions, users, and then let me come to users action. So login user action, when something login user success, and then login error. Okay, so let's head over to our Redux, our reducer, and see if we are getting that. So here, let's head over to when there is, as you can see, I'm not handling when a user login fail. That is why I'm not getting that. Alright, so let's grab the constant user login fail. I believe you guys saw it when I'm creating this action. So here I will say case and user login fail. If that's the case, I will return a state with error. Okay, I will say, so this error will be inside my store, error, and then I will grab it from action.payload. Perfect. So with this being implemented, so let's head over to our application again. So let me log in, and as you can see, now I have my error state inside my store. Let's head over to our state, and you can see we have error property on that. So I can also destructure inside my login user component. Apart from loading and the user info, I want to have an error. Correct. So with this in place, right? So we can display that text. When it's loading, we won't display a spinner. So we can create a spinner component, right? You can create a spinner component of that. But let me, for the meantime, you improve on that. But I want to give you how it is implemented so that you can do it by yourself if you want to do it in a different way. So here, above, where do you want to display? Inside the container, right? Wherever. So here, let's use ternary operator here and see that when it's loading, right, like this, and when it's loading, I want to display h1 here and say loading. So what it means is that this is an if statement, right? It means that when it's loading, display this loading text inside a component. So let's head over to our application here. As you can see, inside our state, there is no loading, so we do not have a bar. As soon as I click on this one, as you can see, I blink of an eye, you see a loading. As you can see, loading is there. But I want to display an error if something goes wrong. So the same process here, I can say that my ternary operator here, I will say that if there's an error, okay, and I want to display an error, I will say here something went wrong with this in place. So let's try again. Refresh it. As you can see, it gives me something because we have an error in it. So when I click on login with that data, as you can see, something went wrong because inside our store we have that proper error property inside. So let's go over to our store again. As you can see, on the error property we have this, but we are placing a static data. So instead of our own, we want to pull this one from our store inside this component. So coming back here, instead of this something went wrong, we can get it from here, this error from our state. So we can say when something went wrong, then let me put it inside a p tag, right, to make it so you can have a nice component. So let me embed it here as what, an error, like that. So with this one, so refresh it, as you can see when I log in, you see I have invalid credentials. So you can create a component for that, right? So we can quickly come here and see that, let me call the component file as, let me say, error message.js, and I'll have my RFC snippet and I have my error component like this one. So here I want to have some style, so I'll destructure children here, and in here I will return my children here. So let me have some style, and see that style here, let me have it a background color, a style here, let me say background of red, and text, let me say color should be white, and let me have a pattern of, let me say, 3 pixels. So with this, I want to wrap my error message inside this component. So I can come to my login component here, and instead of this error component, I want p tag here, I want to render my component. So here I believe I will have my auto import, so error message, correct. Since this is, I want to wrap or pass a property inside to display it, I don't have to save closing like this, so I have to close it with, so that inside between my closing and ending tag I can embed the error. Sorry, here inside this one, error, save it, and let's have a look. So refresh it, log in, as you can see, invalid credentials. When I log in with the right password is BR and then 1 2 3 4 5, as you can see, loading, and then so as soon as I log in, I want to push it to my dashboard, right? So here, when login is success, I can say redirect to dashboard or profile. I believe you have that. So here, since this component was rendered by our React router DOM, we have access of what is called history, right? So if you want to know where I get this from, let's pass in the props here in the console log. Our props, as you can see, is because since React router was the one that will display this component, that React router DOM injects some methods and functions inside this component, and one of this one was called history, right? So let's save it, and then as you can see, an object here, and I have my history, and on that I have push. This is a function. So here, after login, I want to redirect. So I make use of, instead of props dot, I want to destructure it as before, and I only need history for now, like so. And let me head over to my login submit handler, and I will say history dot push, and I want to push to profile. I believe I have that component. So with this one, let me log in again. Prop is not defined, I think. Let me remove the console log from here. So with this, let's save it, and let me log in with the right password, like this. 1 2 3 4 wrong. As you can see, I have been redirected successfully. Alright, so guys, I don't want this video to be long, so I'll end here, and in the next video we will tackle the tabs. When user logs in, you expose some tabs, and when user logs out, you want to hide some tabs from the user. So thanks for watching.